My driveway kept getting smaller every month. It looked like the line was moving. I brought out my old house plans and measured. 3 feet were missing. I've lived in my New Jersey house for over 20 years. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. When I bought it, I made sure everything was documented properly. Property lines, easements, boundaries, all the legal stuff. I didn't want problems down the road. My driveway was clearly mine. My neighbor's fence was his, and the space between was a clear boundary. Simple, no problems. Until one day, I pulled into my driveway and something felt wrong. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining things. My driveway felt narrower. I wasn't sure why, but I had to park closer to my garage door than usual. It wasn't a big deal. Maybe I just parked weird that day. I let it go. Then it happened again and again. A few months passed, and every time I came home, it felt worse. I started second-guessing myself. Was I losing my mind? Had my driveway always been this tight? I asked my wife if she noticed anything. She looked at me like I was crazy. "You're just bad at parking," she said. Maybe she was right. I let it go. Until one morning, when I was pulling out, and my tire hit something. A hard edge that was completely new. I got out and looked. There was a fresh strip of pavement along the edge of my driveway, blending into mine like it had always been there. But it hadn't. I squatted down, running my hand over it. The asphalt was smoother than the rest of my driveway. It was fresh. I glanced over at my neighbor's driveway. That looked new too. It clicked. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but my neighbor had stolen part of my driveway. I didn't say anything yet. I wanted proof first. I went inside, dug through my old paperwork, and pulled out the house plans from when I bought the place. My property line was clearly marked. My driveway hadn't moved. Something else had. I grabbed a tape measure, walked outside, and measured. 3 feet. 3 full feet were gone. I stood there, tape measure in hand, staring at my own driveway like an idiot. My neighbor had stolen 3 feet of my property, and I hadn't even noticed until now. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, going over every possibility. Had I made a mistake? Was there some kind of property shift I didn't know about? Had I signed something and forgotten? No, that wasn't possible. I needed proof. The next day, I went out and bought a small security camera. Nothing fancy, just something I could stick inside my garage window facing the driveway. If anything happened, I'd have it on video. And then I waited. A week passed, nothing happened. I started to wonder if I'd been wrong. Maybe I really was just bad at parking. Then one night, I checked the footage, and I saw something that made my blood boil. At 2 a.m., my neighbor walked into my driveway. He looked around, making sure no one was watching. Then a truck pulled up. A crew of guys got out, and right there in the dead of night, they started working on his driveway. But they weren't fixing it. They were expanding it onto mine. I watched in stunned silence as they ripped up the old boundary line, poured new asphalt 3 feet over onto my property, and painted fresh white lines like it had always been that way. They even sprayed a new border on my driveway like they owned it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Who does that? Who just takes land like that? I was furious, but I kept my cool. I needed to handle this the right way. If I confronted him, he'd deny it. If I waited too long, he'd act like it had always been his. I copied the footage onto a flash drive and went straight to the city's property department. When I got there, I explained what happened. The guy at the counter gave me a look, the kind people give when they think you're exaggerating. Then I pulled out the house plans. Then I showed him the footage. He watched in silence. Then he picked up the phone. Within hours, a city inspector was at my house. He measured everything, compared it to the official records, checked the footage, took a ton of pictures, and then he made some calls. By the afternoon, I had official confirmation. My neighbor was in serious violation of city codes, and the best part, his car was parked on my stolen property. The inspector made a call. 30 minutes later, a tow truck pulled up. I was outside when my neighbor ran out, still in his slippers, watching his car get hooked up. "What the hell are you doing?" he shouted at me. I crossed my arms, taking my driveway back. He looked around, saw the city inspector, saw the officials. His face went pale. "You can't just tow my car," he yelled. "It's on my property," I said. The inspector cut him off. "You moved the property line. That's illegal. You need to remove everything you built onto his land immediately." My neighbor stammered, trying to argue, saying I didn't understand how property lines worked, that I must have been confused. Then I pulled out my house plans and the footage. He shut up real fast.